As a supplemental set, Everfest brought toys for all classes. Now, of course, the nature of the beast is that some of these toys are going to be better than others, but most everyone got something. Today, I'm running down my top picks for each class from Everfest. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. Thank you very much for tuning in today for my top picks for each class from Everfest. Now, tonight's cast is sponsored by fabdb.net. Head on over there and check them out. I know most of you guys are already because they are the best resource that we have available on the web for Flesh and Blood players. Deck building, collection management, pricing, everything you need at your fingertips. If you are enjoying what you're finding over there, you can evaluate doing a premium subscription, upgrading your membership, and unlocking a whole bunch of other extra stuff. So go on over and check them out. All right, so today what I want to do, you see the sidebar over here, we're going to do it PTI style. That's a sports ball thing if you're not aware. But what we're going to do is we're just going to count down by each class. Now, disclaimer, I cheated on a couple because there's a couple of these that I picked two because they really go hand in hand. And I think it'll make sense when we get there. So forgive the cheats. All right, first up is Guardian. Now, you will also note that as I go down the list, there may be a reason I'm going down the list of the classes in this particular order, and maybe you can figure that out and let me know in the comments of why the order is set that way. So first up for Guardian is Earth Lore Bounty. Now, is this the most powerful card in the set? Probably not, but the reason I love this card the most is because of what it does, right? You don't need to go get $120, $130, whatever it is, tectonic plating anymore if you don't want to or if you don't have to. Because now there's I checked it this morning before I shot this cast, it is now a $7, $8 card. It's a much better option for someone who wants to get into Guardian. I absolutely love this. It's pretty good on its own. It has temper, so no, it's not as good as tectonic plating, but it's a cool card, right? And it fills out that slot. Awesome stuff there. All right, now I do want to give an honorable mention to Pulverize. So I think the jury's still out, and I think we're going to have to see as the meta develops whether Pulverize itself is good. But I'm really a huge fan of the Heave mechanic and what it brings. The trade-off there of essentially like forward investing and being able to pay for your card, but still letting your opponent know that it's coming so they can react accordingly. I really, really like that trade-off. It's a great design space. I hope that we see more of that going forward. So the jury's still out on how good it will be in practicality. But I really wanted to mention that because I'm really a huge fan of that design space. All right, moving into Runeblade. So this is one of the classes. Yes, I picked 2 for. That's because these two kind of go hand in hand. Now, no, you do not have to use Revel in Runeblood and Swarming Gloomveil together, but if you do, it's pretty good, right? So Swarming Gloomveil is pretty gross, especially for Viserai or Chane, who can just make the auras by doing what they normally want to do anyway. If you're able to make more auras, you can get the +1 and then potentially get the unblockable. This Swarming Gloomveil is making some pretty nasty combos. And then the crazy combos, right? You use your creepers to drop a Revel in Runeblood, right? That's why I've got these two together, and you poop out a whole bunch of tokens, and all of a sudden they're unblockable. And when it wasn't originally unblockable, right? Your opponent had to decide how to block, and then you did it afterwards. And then you can swing Rosetta and just go to town, man. Just go to town. This Runeblades have no lack of toys. But I do think that this one's going to make its way at least into Viserai decks, probably into Chane decks, maybe not into the Briar deck because the Earth Briar deck. Assuming there's probably some other Briar decks out there, and people can go experiment with it, and we'll see what happens. But I think for sure 2 of the 3 Runeblades throw this in, right? All right, I also want to give an honorable mention to not this card particularly, but the fact that Runeblades picked up this whole thing of, the whole sub-theme in this set, I guess, of cards that give you a bonus if you've played an aura, which I hear is a pretty hard thing for Runeblades to do, right? No, sarcasm, right? This card, the Shrill of Skullform, this is a 2 for 7. Like, you Mavrian into this. For Viscera, right? Mavrian into this, you poop out a token. It's 2 for 7 now with Go Again with Mavrian, and then you follow up with a Rosetta. It's a pretty damn good 3-card turn, right? Yeah, crazy. And only 2 of those being permanent because you're pitching for it. Yeah, this, and it's not this card itself, but there's a whole cycle of these. Some of them are better than others, obviously, but yeah, that's right. Runeblade did real good. Did real good. Right, for Illusionist Fractal Replication, it's the backdrop here. The art is fantastic. I don't think that's any secret, but this thing is scary, right? That basically you get, if you don't block them, you get hit and it goes in their soul. If you do block them, you've got to worry about Fractal Replication, everything it brings. This card's really, really, really good. I don't know that I do need to do much more explaining on that one. I also want to give a shout out to Miraging Metamorph on this one. If it's a 1 for 7, and if it hits, it does a thing. And I mean, at least it's not going into soul for anybody. But this card is, I mean, you can run this and Wartune Herald now, right? Multiple 1 for 7s. Sure, they have Phantasm, but so is everything else. And yeah, this one's pretty good too. All right, Wizard I think this one's a slam dunk. Either Wildfire, deal 4 damage to target opposing hero, and you get a whole bunch of crud for doing it, right? This is a huge piece of that ZTK, 0-turn kill wizard possibility. Sure, the stars have to align in a very specific way, and it's not going to happen very often. But the fact that it's even out there really, I think, serves to highlight. We're talking Blitz, by the way. I think that's even out there and possible. I think really serves to highlight. Wizard's going to be really scary in Blitz. I'm very scared of Wizard and Blitz anyway. But we'll see what the smart people do with it. But that's kind of what I'm afraid of, is the smart people doing it with it. All right, moving on to Ninja, the 100 Winds of Eternity, right? There's another one. It was 2, but I think you guys understand why I've got both of these on here. 100 Winds of Eternity, this combo line is phenomenal, right? So first off, 100 Winds is the first combo line we've seen where all parts of it have combo, right? So your leg taps, your head jabs, they don't have combo. So these cards having combo in themselves is good just from like a flick-flack standpoint. But you can 100 Winds, Winds of Eternity. I mean, you guys get it. Like the combo is pretty cut and dry. But this thing is phenomenal, and not just for the combo itself being phenomenal, but we have another combo line that's been added that is all zeros, right? So we now have several decks. All 3 of them do. I don't think this one's as good in Benji because it's not quite doing what you want it to do. Maybe you do, maybe you don't play this in Benji, but remember they're not all unblockable. But either way, your Iras and your Katsus, they now have, basically they can run all zeros, right? And I want to talk about this in another episode later, but the lines of play opened up, the lines of deck building, the lines of design opened up by adding another full 0 combo line is pretty big, I think, for the game. Ninja did very, very well in this set, and it wasn't just Benji. All right, an honorable mention, of course, then to Spring Tidings, right? The reason I'm not going to, the best card by class isn't going to be someone's spec because there's other heroes out there, right? I mean, Spring Tidings is really, really, really good, but it's not playable in CC, it's not playable for all heroes. So wanted to mention it, but certainly could not give it that top spot. Right, for Rangers, I think hands down it's Rain Razors. There is an argument to be made that Deathgore could have taken this slot as the number 1. The reality of it is, though, that Deathgore doesn't help all Rangers. And then, Deathgore's really good. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not the bow of choice for Azalea. But it is kind of weird that if you have to Deathgore down and then you want to dominate from top of deck, you actually don't carry the +1, right? So you trade the +1 of the load with top of the deck. So that's why that's not on here. Rain Razors, and let's actually talk about the card we're talking about, right? Rain Razors, this thing being instant, all arrows get +2 while attacking this turn. It's a lunging, not lunging, it's a lightning press of sorts. Obviously no fuse, but this, and it carries. This card's freaking great, right? This with Boltyn shot. I don't know. This thing's crazy. I love this card's fantastic. I need to get me 3 of these ASAP. All right, for Brute, by and large, they actually got some good tools, but by and large, I think that it was pretty average overall. There's a lot of dice rolling stuff, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for the people that enjoy playing those decks. But overall, the only real card that I saw that popped big right now, to be fair, Wild Ride's pretty good. The other one, I'm forgetting it right now, but it's the other one that's a red 6 that lets you do top of deck instead of from hand. Those are both very viable adds to Rhinar, but swing big, a 2 for 8. This thing's great, right? This thing's fantastic. So and the not hit effect in this case, right? The not hit effect of this, and this blocks for 3, by the way. But the not hit effect of this actually I don't think is as impactful as you think, because in many cases I think they're going to have to block a lot of this, so they won't necessarily be able to use the Quicken token even if they do fully block this. So I think that this is a really good card, right? I mean, the 2 for 8, and keep in mind, right, since it's a 2, you can pummel this with a 4-card hand with 2 yellows, right? Which is pretty good in itself. So yeah, great pickup for Brute. Right, Mech, so the T-Bone line, I think, is their best pickup. I really love this T-Bone does several things on several levels, right? One, I love the effect where you can pick off their equipment. That's really, really neat. It's also just at a very basic level, it's another 0 that you can boost, right? So for like the Blitz, this is especially crazy, I think, for the Blitz version, where you're just trying to boost because you don't have to pay for it, right? So I think you play all 9 of these, I'm pretty sure. Either way, being able to snake, I love the effect of being able to snake out the equipment. This line is fantastic. There's a lot of other neat and kind of niche things that Mechanologist got in this set, but I think far and above, I think this is going to be the most useful. So that's why it made this list for me. Right, moving into Warrior, I think without a doubt, Blade Runner's probably the best line that we've seen. This thing basically taking out, for one-handed weapons, note you. This thing basically taking out Warrior's Valor and the need to hit, I think is really good. I've actually, in the Kassai games that I played this last weekend and some other testing I've been doing with this, I'm actually finding that sometimes I have almost too much go again, and too much go again for the second swing, I should say. Right now, I would have loved this a lot more if it wasn't one-handed restrictive. Maybe that was going to be too tough. I don't know. So we'll see what people can do with Boltyn with this. I don't know that this does make it into Boltyn just because of the way that he plays, but we'll see what the Boltyn vets end up doing with it. We will see. And then, of course, as keeping in theme with Benji, the blood on her hands is an honorable mention. This card might be busted, right? Like, this card's pretty crazy. Steven this weekend was able to, I was on Kassai this weekend, he was on Kassai this weekend. One of his games, he was able to double blood in the hands, or I should say back-to-back blood in the hands. I mean, what are you going to, how are you going to stop that, right? It's just crazy. This card's might be busted, but you know what? When Wizards can be able to ZTK, I don't know. We'll see how things fall out, but Kassai's very, very, very strong right now. All right, last I have Merchant, because they are a class. This one's kind of a joke because, in all honesty, I think the best card they still have is Talishar, because I was really surprised they didn't get a weapon in this set, right? Or there wasn't, I'm not necessarily a weapon, but I was really surprised that there wasn't a generic weapon or some sort of support that Merchant could use. Talishar's a bummer, right, for them. And yes, I do want to acknowledge, I know that they got the legendary in this set, but I don't see it, right? I don't see it. So it's cool looking. It's a good card, or it's a nice looking card. It's exciting for that class, but in terms of, should it have been a legendary in terms of what it does? I don't know. But either way, that ends it today. So, I know I went through this kind of fast. I didn't want to be here for an hour and a half going through each one of these cards, but let me know. Hopefully you, as we've been going through, you guys have been taking notes and letting me know if you agree, if you disagree. Best is always subjective, right? But remember, we have to try and evaluate things in the context of not just whether the card's good or not, but how they fit into things. So anyway, that's where my head was at. Let me know your thoughts. So looking forward to hearing from you guys in the comments. As always, if you guys enjoy what we're doing here, let me know. Like, subscribe, comment. It helps get us out there and find us more people, right? And bring us more people to Flesh and Blood. So anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in tonight, and go Commando.